All right, hello and welcome to the Fleeting Thoughts podcast. My name's Joe.
Hello, Joe. I don't know.
You suck. That was terrible.
I know. I was.
Hello, Joe. What was that? Like
Joe.
a really enthusiastic English person,
like
or was it Australian?
It was a really excited midget man.
Midget man from some unknown
from down
land.
under.
Hello, Joe. Welcome to the podcast. Yeah.
Hey, we cast lots of pods around here.
Yeah.
I got a little pod in my hand right now. I'm gonna cast it right on out. See if it comes on back to me.
Oh, like a bloody boomerang. Wow, that was fun.
It was.
Welcome to the new and improved Fleeting Thoughts podcast, where we've downgraded the technology to our original style plus headsets.
Mm-hmm. Back to our roots.
So you can't watch us, but we can watch you from here.
Yeah, we traded in your video recorder for mini video recorders that we put in people's houses so we can watch them.
Yeah, I bought 20 video recorders. I checked IP addresses. I snuck into people's houses, and now we are watching you all on a monitor.
A monitor?
A monitor lizard in the future, because we're listening to you listening to this. We're watching you listening to this.
While speaking to you simultaneously.
While talking to you.
Yeah.
And we know what you're thinking and feeling.
That was the sound of somebody's head exploding, I think.
Oh, no. I was going to do the whole thing in the Irish accent or the Scottish accent, and then you did your fucking outburst of midget talk, and I fucking lost it.
Well, it was... Uh-oh. I think I unplugged my thing. Anyway.
Yeah, or it just doesn't work. What happened there? We're still recording, but this is not. It's not plugged in correctly. New stuff is difficult to figure out.
Anyway, with the voice, no, you did that voice, and I wasn't expecting it, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I need a voice," and I was like, and it just came out of my mouth that way.
Oh, mine was all subtle, and it was like no big deal. I just talk like that, no big deal, whatever.
And then the drunken midget from down under just came in and was like,
"Hey, bloody fucking hell!" Right on. Right before this, we were talking about your new love of kettlebells. You borrowed one of my kettlebells. How's that going for you?
It's going well. I've only done it for like a week, but I just do it a few times a week to supplement all of my running so that I can be one of those guys who doesn't have like crazy ripped legs and then nothing up top. I'm trying to balance out my body, you know?
One of those guys, the guys who have crazy ripped legs but nothing up top.
Yeah.
That's like, I don't know if that's not usually the stereotype. It's the other way around. It's the guys who make sure they look all buff and awesome
and their
up
legs
top.
look like spaghetti noodles.
Yeah, their legs are just these little skinny things.
No, I just wanted to have a new workout to do, just to work out my upper body.
Mm-hmm.
So
get those guns.
Yeah,
ablazing.
I don't even want guns. I just want to not be flabby.
Yeah, right.
That's like the end game goal there.
Yeah, flab is a problem. I with all my upper body work, I still have a little fat on my belly, and it pisses me
I think
off.
that's just inevitable. I think it's just there.
Well, then I
Just
guess
don't
I'll
eat-
just give up.
Just don't eat any food for like 2 weeks, and then maybe after doing all that fasting, if you don't die,
Can I eat
you
something
won't
else?
have-
Can I eat something else? Just not food?
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know what.
The secret is to eat like wall plaster.
Oh,
It
yeah.
just destroys.
It'll
just
really
lasers
really
off
help
that
my
belly
digestive
fat.
system. That's why nobody ever does it.
Yeah.
That's the secret is wall plaster.
If that became a thing, people would fucking do it. If somebody
Oh,
just
yeah.
came out and was like, "This is a new diet fad," you just eat wall plaster twice a day. And then as long as you at least get 20 minutes of aerobic exercise, you'll just melt those pounds away in days.
Oh, yeah. It's obviously a foolproof plan with no science involved, so we should definitely promote that. But, yeah, definitely getting toned up and all that is really nice, and I think helps you lose fat when you're turning fat into muscle or getting your muscles all big and swole. And
Swole?
yeah.
Such a funny word.
I thought of the word sometimes you get a little exuberant about your weight progress, like if you're anyway, whatever, I don't know what I'm saying. But I thought of the word. I was at work and I was like, I just wanted to yell to the person I was working with, I'm so fucking svelte. Svelte. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but I was feeling all buff at the time or something.
I'm trying to think of like how
I think I was wearing a really small shirt.
yeah,
Yeah.
Is that what you do now? You wear your shirts. You bought some. Like you only bought like 3 shirts that were like extra small kid size ones,
Yeah.
just for days that you needed to feel swelt, as you put it.
Svelte.
Sweat. Oh, svelte.
Svelte. SVELT, I think is how it is.
Svelte.
It's a type of. It's kind of like a BLT, but it's a svelte. SVELT. I don't know what's happening right now.
I don't know.
It's. I think I'm just really. I
think you
feel like
just
I'm
woke
in
up
like
an
a
hour
bubble
ago
because I
and-
have this headset on and I'm not used to it. So
It's gonna help
I
with
did
volume
just wake
levels,
up, yeah.
hopefully.
yeah, I think it'll help with me not saying yeah, sure, yeah, yeah.
No, it's
All these cues, listening cues that I don't need to put out, but we'll see how it works. Yeah, we're not using the video recording this time. We're going to just do it old school. And the YouTube wasn't getting much hits, so I'm not going to go through the trouble of recording everything unless I get a bunch of people demanding we do it. I will put it on the YouTube channel. I'll just do pictures.
I like the
with the
pictures
audio.
more because then I can just sit here and like play with my belly button and
Yeah.
you know I just can
Yeah.
be more comfortable in my environment. I don't have people watching me.
Yeah, we can not worry about our looks so much.
I worry about them so much.
I
all
do
the time.
too. I worry about your looks mostly.
Because I have to look at your fucking
Oh
face.
man! Oh Danny!
Ah, come on. Don't
You're
smile
wearing
like
that today?
Yeah,
Oh.
come on. What are you, 12?
What? Yeah.
Grow up, guy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Nobody grows up. We just get taller
It's true.
and older.
Every once in a while when I'm like, I have a Batman shirt on today, and I was like, I'm an adult.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
But what shirts are you supposed?
I know,
The
I don't
adult
know.
wear. What do adults wear? I gotta wear like button ups every day.
Yep.
I
You gotta wear just plain cotton tees
Yeah.
with a nice button up over the top of it, preferably tucked into your khaki pants.
Mm-hmm. And your dickies, and you have a
Yeah.
nice little belt, and
Mm-hmm.
no hat or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think it's all just fashion is just a symbol of how much money you make. It's just an outward display of finances.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, hey, or a little bit of personality, like you're wearing Batman, like you obviously.
Yeah, like I obviously
comic book
fight
stuff.
crime and have lots of money and
Yeah, no, I didn't think you were
I don't
trying to
kill people,
impersonate Batman. People are like, oh wait, is that Batman? He has the symbol right on his chest, just like Batman. He looks just like Batman if Batman existed.
Mhm. There's a shirt at my store that says, I wish I was Batman, but I suck at fighting and I'm poor. And I almost got that shirt. I was like, I kind of wish I was Batman, but those are 2 factors that hold me back for sure.
Also, I have no moral compass, so yeah.
No, I had one. I leave it in the top drawer of my nightstand. I only
Mhm.
pull it out on days that I feel like I might need it.
Superhero days, where you go out and fight crime like a vigilante. Wasn't that a city that drowned vigilantes?
I think this is Atlantis.
No, it wasn't.
Which
I don't know.
isn't that like a fictional city anyway? The city beneath
No,
the sea?
it depends. It is definitely an old myth, an old story, but there are drowned cities all over the world, and there's one specifically that is in the area where Atlantis is supposed to be. And so when... have you ever looked into any of the videos on ancient civilizations? Graham Hancock has a lot of really cool YouTube videos, and he did a documentary on his theory that there were very large advanced civilizations up to around 15,000 years ago or farther, and then that's just like what you have evidence for, and then you extrapolate that and say, well, then they probably, grew another, 20, 30, 40,000 years into becoming bigger and bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially it turns the history on its head and says that we've been around much longer, but large catastrophic events have happened, like flooding due to the ice caps melting, because
We've been doing global warming since inception.
yeah
We've just been attributing to it.
It's all our fault forever, but no,
Started with
because
those little bonfires that we used to make to keep our tribes warm. Just putting those gases up in the air.
yeah, it was all our fault because we invented fire. We started carbon emissions somehow. We started
By
ruining
burning Just tree wood.
Yeah, but I subscribe to that. I think that humans have been doing very large civilization type things for much longer than we have history and evidence for. Like good, solid, like written histories for.
Well, they haven't even explored like the full depths of the ocean. There's could be
No.
shit all the way down there that points to things too.
Yeah, that's true because the tectonic plates shift, and so what's under the water is not under the water all the time, and so who knows what we'll find down there on the top of mountains. But a lot of people don't believe that kind of stuff.
A lot of people don't believe a lot of things, and then people believe things that they maybe shouldn't believe because they're silly.
They should just believe what I believe.
Yeah,
because
you're right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm your first follower right here.
Yeah, for the cult.
Yeah. Cult of Grey.
The Grey Cult. That'd be pretty
There's
cool
no
name.
black and white in life. There's just lots of grey.
Yeah, we don't believe in absolutes or using your native accents.
When you address him in a voice that is not your own.
Where are you from?
You don't speak to Joe in any other fashion.
Yes. And take your pants off. This is a cult. I mean, what else is a cult for if not for sexual exploits?
And Kool-Aid drinking.
Yes.
Quite popular.
Yes. We don't poison it. We're not stupid like that one.
Fucking love Kool-Aid.
Yes. I mean, who wouldn't want
flavored
Kool-Aid?
water.
I mean, it's once a week. We only meet once a week. It's not a big deal.
Shut up, Mary. I know you're counting your calories, but it's just once a week.
Yes.
Just drink a little cup.
It's like a little vacation.
Somebody put some of that fucking Splenda shit in Mary. She's being a bitch about it.
Mary. That's our song for her.
For Mary,
I wrote it.
That calorie counting bitch from accounting.
From accounting. Everyone hates the accountants, but they're like the most essential people in business. You have to account for your monies.
I wonder why that is. I wonder why they do always want to account. Maybe because there's this notion that people in accounting have no social skills because they just spend all day with numbers.
It's because the dumbasses who don't know how to do math and they don't end up being accountants, and so they just make fun of the smart kids. The accountants are awesome. Accountants are geniuses. I mean, some of them, not all of them, obviously. There's probably some retarded ass accountants out there, but I was going to say something about fat people because I just watched this really good interview that Stefan Molyneux did with this guy named Dr. Gabor Mate, not related to the yerba mate people, I assume.
Hopefully not.
Because that's a tea
His first name was
product.
Gabor?
Yeah, Gabor.
Like a homosexual giant wild boar? Like, I don't
yeah, he's a big gay boar. No, I don't. He's from like Russia or something like that.
Okay.
He was a very small child during the end of World War II or whatever, and his like Germany took over his country. I forget what country he's from, but it's not America, so they wouldn't call him a gay boar. But it was about he's an addiction specialist. He is a medical doctor who studies addiction now, and he was talking about how a lot of different things are addictions. Like you can get addicted to anything that you kind of can't live without, and then has long-term negative effects. Essentially, is an addiction. So, like addiction to shopping and food. And he talked about how almost all obese people that he treats for food addiction at his clinic or whatever, we're all subjected to a lot of abuse and some sexual abuse and stuff like that. And so it just made me a little bit more sympathetic. And it's not like I didn't know that. Like I've known that for a while.
Isn't it because they like try to make themselves unattractive or something?
That's part
to
of it.
Prohibit further sexual
well, it's
attacks.
Part of it is the outward defense mechanism of being fatter and therefore pushing aside certain sexual advances, and then the other part is the dopamine that gets released when you eat food. So that just becomes super reinforced. So people just, they're trying to soothe negative feelings through something, and they use food just like other people use drugs or alcohol or whatever. It's a way to lessen pain, to distract from pain, and to soothe negative feelings. So it was just nice to watch this video and learn a little bit more about kind of the really expansive effects of child abuse and general stress, like early childhood stress. Like even if your parents don't abuse you, but they're full of stress, it'll transfer to you kind of subconsciously as a social being or whatever. So his parents were like, dealing with the war, and they didn't abuse him, but he ended up really becoming addicted to certain things later in life that he talks about. And part of that is because his parents were so stressed out that he, as an infant, it started to affect him as well. It's all like interconnected and all that.
I can understand being stressed out if your city's being bombed. And
it would be
Nazis are
shitty.
taking people to special camps.
Special camps, yeah.
That's what we call them.
Yeah. Oh, you're just special. Get over here. You have, are you a Jew? Yeah, you're so special. Get over
you
here.
get the super special one.
Oh, look at you.
You get in line with the other people with the golden stars.
Why would you want to stay in your home when you can go to this place with the walls?
No, your family will come. Don't worry. Just not with you.
Yes. Oh, we will bring them. They are going to the other place. The other special place.
There was a documentary on, I was perusing Netflix the other day while I was editing, and I just wanted something on for background noise. And they had a documentary about the effects of obesity, and like the long term, starting with like kids. And I was looking at it, I was like, I kind of want to watch this, but it's really fucking depressing, and I don't really want to watch something like that right now. Yeah. So I went to a different one, which was I think I was telling you about it last time. It was like an urban legend one where they they dissected like 4 urban legends and their relations to crimes in real life and stuff, which was equally depressing because that was just about lots of people being murdered in terrible ways. Nice, but that's not as bad as fat kids, I guess. So fat kids are still alive.
Yeah, you sort of have to
torturing people.
Yeah, you have to redefine your sympathy toward them. I got a text or something. Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, that happens on cell phones.
No, not for me.
It's one of the new many forms of communication we've developed in the last 15 years or so.
What are you talking about? What is this cell phone you speak of?
Bring me my typewriter.
Yes. Bring me my typewriter. My mini typewriter only weighs 50 pounds.
Yep.
Yeah, so you watched a documentary on urban legends. What was one of the urban legends? I'm curious.
One of them was
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, no, it's a really good one.
Yeah, it sucks when you have to think about things.
It's the babysitter one where she's home alone, babysitting alone. That's why you need a babysitter, because your fucking parents leave to go do something without their kids. It's the one with the babysitter where she gets a call, and at first they dismiss it as somebody messing with them, and then they call again, and then the caller makes threats to them, and then she calls the police, and the police are like, "Oh, the call's coming from inside the house." It's like the plot of like 4 movies.
Yeah, Scream.
Yeah, and so because they were basically trying to figure out where like some of these urban legends came from, because most of them are just like legends. They're not like really true things that happened. And in this particular one, they were talking about I can't remember where it came from, but basically a woman who was babysitting, somebody broke in the house and raped and murdered her.
Oh, wow.
They didn't do anything to the kid, just her. And then it like kind of sprang up from that one event. But they were talking about how it doesn't, it never happens, because unless you're being like stalked by somebody, and which is what happened to her, is the guy knew that she was babysitting, was going to be there by herself, sans the child she was watching. So it was just them taking like these different urban legends and then like tracing them back to where they started, and then figuring out what happened to like make that spring up. And it usually correlated to a crime that was kind of similar, but not quite the same.
Yeah, that's a hard one to nail down, because it could be that some urban legend exists, and then in researching it you find something close enough, but there's no real direct connection between the actual event and the urban legend, because it may or may not have come from that. You don't really know.
Yeah, it was one of those documentaries that, like, when it was over, I was like, well, I didn't really learn anything. Like, it's kind of entertaining in parts, but it was because there's so many crimes that happen all the time. Like, it was just kind of a weird thing to watch that just didn't really amount to much of anything. It was just suddenly over, and I was like, well, I know a little bit more about a few urban legends now, and some terrible crimes that happen to people.
It's like people just want to scare. They tell these stories that are a little bit far-fetched to scare people into, like, not babysitting or something. Like, it's not really helpful to know about really horrific events that are very rare.
Yeah.
Other than to scare people or to make, movies and shit like that. Like that movie, The Strangers or whatever, or Strangers or whatever.
Yeah, The Strangers, yeah.
Where they had the masks on, and it's based on a true story where these people were, like, murdered in their home from people who, I guess, I don't know how they found out if they wore masks or not. That might have been just made up for the movie. Because they all died, and they didn't get caught.
Whenever I watch a movie where it's like, oh, based on actual events, then I immediately go look up all the real events after I watch the movie, and I'm just like, what?
It's not anywhere near
completely different. What are you talking about?
Yeah. It's based on the fact that people die sometimes and get murdered.
There's a correlation because a guy was murdered with an axe, and so we just added some other stuff for some dramatic flair, and here we are. Here's a film for you to watch and enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Based on actual events.
Based on somebody had a knife once. Or an axe, you said. Or like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they were just like, what? Like, people have chainsaws. It's based on true story.
And people eat other people. Cannibalism's a thing.
Cannibalism
in places.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Planet Earth, and they had something about jungles, and there was chimpanzees, and they were fighting off a different group of chimpanzees in their territory, and they killed one, and then they were eating it, and the people on the narrator was like, we still don't fully understand why they cannibalized the other tribe.
It's to fucking scare the other tribe. Those guys are like, they'll kill you and then fucking eat you. Like, let's go away. Don't mess with those. We'll go throw poop over here. That's the only thing I know about chimpanzees, is that they throw poop on occasion.
Yeah, I assume they do. I don't know. I think that's only in zoos. I don't know if they throw poop at each other. In real life, they just murder each other.
In zoos, it makes sense because they're just bored. They're like,
they don't have anything else to throw.
Fucking throw this poop, I guess. I don't know. There's nothing else to do.
Yeah, well, we should not go on a poop tangent for too long.
Did the narrator ever just try to sit down with a chimpanzee? Just ask him? Just do an interview.
Hey, why'd you eat that other chimp?
I noticed in some film that we got earlier that we recorded after you murdered that guy. It was murder. It was not self-defense. He wasn't hurting you. Yeah. But you ate him.
You could have shared.
Can you explain?
Yeah, and they'd be like, that's chimp talk. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What do they sound like?
That sounds like a little yipping dog.
That's a dog, I think. How can I not make a chimp sound? We're very close to them genetically. I don't know if they have bonobos in the Planet Earth movie.
Little bonobos.
Because the bonobos are the uber sexual ones, and they're just essentially
probably a reason why they're not.
Yeah, they don't get a lot of press because they're just fucking each other all the time, and but they're beautiful and they're pretty, like they're cool, like they are super friendly, and they solve disputes through sex, and so they aren't as interesting as the violent, horrifying chimps that have missing eyes and shit.
I always think that's interesting in our culture that violence is okay, but anything sexual is suddenly in the Planet Earth thing. It's obviously meant for probably like everybody, like kids included, so they probably don't mind showing the brutal murder of a chimpanzee, but then they wouldn't show all these chimps like fucking and mating and all this stuff because for some reason at some point we decided sex was way worse than murder.
Yeah, especially in media, you can show a lot more violence in movies and TV shows and get away with it like nobody even, they just think it's normal. Like, they're just like, yeah, obviously he just chopped that guy's hand off or whatever, or chopped, his head off, or Daredevil is horribly violent, but there's no sexual almost anything in it. There maybe alludes to a couple things or a relationship here and there, but it's, But it's much more. I think sex is just so much more prevalent. Like people are having sex all the time. They're thinking about sex all the time, and they're looking at porn all the time, and they're fucking each other all the time. But we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to.
People having sex way more than people are getting murdered every day. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, right? Like I hope that those are very skewed statistics, or are different. I hope they're different statistics. I'm a fucking idiot.
Well, we could probably. I can look it up on my phone. We can check out the murder to sex ratio roughly every day.
You can't find out how many people are having sex every day. It's all of them all the time. It's like 1 billion people all the time. I mean, there's a lot of nerds not having sex, but they're thinking about it and they're masturbating, so it kind of counts.
Yeah, it's like half a sex. Like every 2 masturbations is 1 sex. We'll break that down.
Just like in the Marvel movie, like it's all action. There's a minor hint of a relationship that could happen, and she talks about how she can't have kids. But then, like somebody made a joke about somebody being a slut in the. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like horrifying. Like, what? You can't say slut about a fictional character, but they can murder thousands of people on screen and nobody cares. I think it's fucking stupid. But it's obviously a sign of how culture is. Like everything is violence. Our whole culture is based around violence. People violently hurt their children all day, and then our government violently hurts other countries and its populace all day, and then we, everything is violence. So it's, they're just reinforcing it so that they don't have to actually address the problem. They don't have to condemn it because it's so justified, our justice system works and bullshit like that, So it's a systemic issue, and then sex is 99% of the time consensual and lovely.
Yeah.
And not a problem, other than people having kids that they shouldn't be having and people raping each other. Like those are and STDs, like that's like kind of the whole negative aspect.
Well, the thing with like STDs and pregnancies, we
preventable.
Have so many things that are preventable.
Yeah. Rape is the real one that's hard to prevent, unless you have a chastity belt on all the time. But then they'll just rape your mouth.
Yeah, I'm sure that if they really wanted to rape you, they would
make it
figure
work.
it out. Yeah. But
either way,
I guess that the reason why everybody's so afraid of sex is because of the pregnancy and STD consequences.
No,
like
I don't think that's it.
Really? Because I feel like that. I don't know. Like the parents
I don't think people are. I think they're. Sorry.
I was gonna say I've just talked to parents who are like they're concerned. They don't want their kids messing around with that because of the consequences, like of what can happen if they're just running around fucking each other.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, my mom just was open about it.
Yeah.
I remember sitting down with, like, an anatomy book when I was 6, and she just explained how kids were made and everything. And, like, she was just really open with it. So I was just very knowledgeable from the get-go. And I think that's, like, you can't stop people from doing what they're going to do most of the time. So you just got to, like, make them knowledgeable enough to make the right decisions when it comes around. People are going to have sex. There's nothing you can do to stop it. You just got to make sure that they have the knowledge to make the right choices and do, set up the necessary precautions so they don't have these terrible consequences that you're so afraid of. So,
yeah.
And I think that's what we should focus on. But then it's always like a problem in schools where parents are like, you shouldn't be teaching my kid about sex ed and blah, blah. Or you have the parents who are like, well, aren't they teaching you this in school?
Yeah.
So...
Well, there's a difference between sex ed and a biological standard, and there's a difference between the like moral, ethical, social impacts of everything too. And so I think there's a lot that people should know about. I think if it's true, people should know about it. So, your kids get older, and as they get older, they ask questions, and you should just be truthful, honest, and explain things and explain it in a way that they're going to understand and make sense for their age. But to keep it from them is you're just
creating a problem down the line. You have to address it at some point. You might as well just nip it in the bud and take care of it right away.
Yeah, and it's not a problem. It's human, natural behavior is not a problem. It's okay that, and it's totally fine. But I think the reason that parents are afraid of sex is because they, for one, don't know that much about it. Like personally, they don't know about biology. They don't know about. I mean, they know the general things you learn, but like they don't know the social ramifications of things. They don't want to think about it. They don't look it up. They just don't know. And then there's also parents who they certainly will not discuss their own sex lives because they're ashamed of their behavior, because they're with someone they don't want to be with, because they just are with somebody because they got somebody pregnant. You know, like they don't want to have to look at their own sexual lifestyle. You know what I mean? So they don't, and they're certainly not going to like tell a child that they made mistakes and that they did all this stuff. And so they're like, and there's a lot of shame involved in religious stuff. So if you're Catholic, sex is like horribly shameful. And a lot of religions, you know, just they're so rigid about it that it's like there's no amount of like leeway or explaining it in different ways or understanding the evolution of sexual behavior in society and taboos and all that stuff.
Well,
so
if you're talking to anybody religious, don't ever throw the E word around. Jesus, man.
evolution, yeah. Yeah, even in like an abstract, non-biological way, like the
Did
evolution.
you just say evolution?
Yeah.
Born this motherfucker.
Yeah. That's not even a word you can say.
That's a made-up word by some of you fancy pants scientists up in their little fucking castle thing over there doing all your experiments on them monkeys.
Your
And
monkey.
how dare you compare me to a monkey? Do I look like a little fucking hairy thing, throw poop around? Fuck you, sir. I'll take my God over your science any day.
Well, fuck you, sir. Fine, that's fine. Don't teach your kids about sex. I don't care. Fuck. It's gonna hurt them and the rest of society.
Right, yeah.
So, way to go, you redneck fuck. Derailed. That's fun.
It was just you were just talking about religion, and then you said evolution. I was like,
I didn't even realize I said it. Yeah,
crossing streams, buddy.
Hell no, you can't talk about
Cause
evolution.
hellfire.
There ain't no proof for it. God never said things evolve.
He didn't make monkeys that then turned into people. He just made people.
He just made them
Adam and
perfect.
Eve.
Made them perfect. And then Adam, or which was the girl one? What's the girl one?
Eve, yeah.
Oh, right.
Eve, I believe.
In Genesis 25:25, Eve said unto thee, you shall eateth the apple from the snake. And then they, women suck. Women are evil.
Well, first off, you got to remember that
They
snake, that fucking little devious snake, he talked her into it because snakes talk. Did I tell you about that time I was in my backyard? I was out in my garden. The garden snake came up. He's like...
Was he like it? What was he like? I mean, can you do that again?
Don't put that seed in the ground is what he told me.
Okay.
And so I didn't. And you know what? Boom, chew, shuck, and muck. That soil was bad. I would have wasted my seeds.
Oh, hell
so thank
no.
God for that snake. That's
Praise
all
the
I'm
Lord.
saying.
Praise the Lord.
Praise him.
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, wait a minute. Are we praising the snake in this situation? Because he seemed to be helping you out, but the snake's the devil. So anyway.
No, what I'm trying to say is that if Eve wouldn't have eaten the apple, then we wouldn't exist as people. I think we were a good reward.
Well, the devil was just the pawn of the Lord because everything is under the Lord's command. So the devil was doing the Lord's work by mixing it up, changing it up.
Thank you.
We don't need paradise. I don't know what paradise is.
Some people think I'm a little unorthodox in my interpretations of the Bible, but this is what I believe. And if I'm wrong, then God strike me down.
Oh,
see,
ain't wrong.
still here. I'm right here.
Can't be wrong.
Clearly, I'm right.
If it's wrong to be right, then I don't want to be right. I'm confused. Seems like a double negative. +2. Carry the 1. Yep, it's right.
Nah, we're going to need some paper to figure this one out.
All right, we're going to pause the podcast, do some math here, some Jesus math. We like to do that holy math. What the fuck are we talking about? What were we talking about? I think we were talking about the Garden of Eden or whatever. Yes. Why is it the Garden of Eden? Wouldn't it be the Garden of Adam? Because he who's Eden? What the fuck? Is that just the name? Where did that name come from? Hell bells, butt man.
Well, it's Eden, not even. It's not based off of Eve's name. I don't know.
Yeah, who's the fuck is Eden? And why did they get a garden?
Right, a whole garden named after. Yeah, so there had to have been somebody around before that was cool enough to get a garden named after them.
Yeah, what the fuck? And then how are we not just a big pile of incestual bullshit like with these two motherfuckers? They had kids. Who'd the kids fuck? Kids must fuck each other. This is all. I mean, they would have ended up being like 3-armed, fucking half-face motherfucking retards. Like, there's no way that would have survived.
Maybe that's why incest is such a big thing that's prevalent in all these backwater.
Yeah, maybe
they're just like, Adam and Eve did it.
They're subconsciously like making the logical connections that make sense, and then they're just like, "What? My sister's hot. God wouldn't have made her hot if I wasn't supposed to have sex with my sister or my cousin."
If I saw her naked, my little pecker jumps up and says, "Hello," and
it's Jesus.
It's a sign.
It's a sign from God.
It's my happy compass. It points me in the direction of happiness.
Happiness. Screw the consequences. It's God's will. Yeah, but God gave you free will and said, "Don't fuck your cousin." Somewhere.
Well, we're in America, and freedom is everything to me.
Freedom. I watched a debate between two high schools. One was from England and one was from Scotland. Uh-huh. This is like just a film debate from their high school, or maybe like freshman college or something. They look pretty young. And they were debating on whether or not immigration should be open. Like you can just go wherever you want through any country. I don't know how they
just
would
freely,
possibly
you don't
like,
need passports
organize
and all that
it.
shit?
No, you would need like passports and you'd register when you went to a country, but there was no one stopping you from leaving a country. Like in a lot of places, there are immigration laws and not everybody can get passports to go anywhere and whatever. But it was really interesting to listen to these debates, and they were pretty young, so they didn't think about, a certain aspects that they could have, but it was really cool to listen to a formal debate. And I don't remember exactly why I brought this up, but it was relating to what we were talking about. I forget. Never mind. But you should listen to debates. They're fun. And I think it was because Stefan Monley was talking about how to be civilized, you have to like put down the sword and then have a conversation. Like you have to, in order for us to progress culturally, or by have a peaceful nation or a peaceful country, we have to debate, we have to have arguments, we have to talk. We can't turn the argument into a fight, like where we murder each other, because then you don't get to better ideas. You don't, things don't change for the better. You don't learn new things and change your mind. There's a lot of preconceptions and all of that as well. But anyway.
It is tough when you're just trying to have a conversation with somebody and then they just immediately jump onto the bandwagon of you attacking them. And you're like, no, I'm not trying. This is what I think.
Yeah.
Tell me why I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And then we can go back and forth and maybe come up with something. But now it always just quickly delves into somebody going on the defensive. And
yeah, I think they should teach argumentation in schools so that people can get the fact that arguments are like a structured debate is for getting to better truths and to get to better ideas and to understand positions and perspectives without getting uber emotional and then leaving or yelling or punching or kicking or whatever. But that's exactly how people solve problems all the time in their real lives, is they throw tantrums and yell and scream and leave and stuff like that.
Easier.
Well, yeah, and it's built in. It's taught. It's what they grew up doing. So it's, I don't know. I think it's so much. I don't know if it's easier. I think it takes so much more resources to yell and fight and hit. It's painful. You can get hurt, and it takes more energy. But to have I guess you have to have an intelligence, and a lot of people don't have the intelligence to have an argument.
I think it requires more effort, and
it definitely requires more intellectual effort.
Yeah, well,
and
I mean, if your kid's
not
crying,
always available, so
it's easier just to hit it until it stops crying than it is to sit down and be like, "Why are you crying? What's bothering you?
Yeah.
What's up?" It's just easier for a parent to be like, "Shut up," and then just hit them in the face until they're like, if I cry, I get hit in the face. I'm not going to cry anymore.
Yeah, that would be...
I mean, I think that physically, it requires more exertion to strike a child in the mouth until it stops than it takes to just sit down with it and talk. But
you can't talk to an infant that doesn't have verbal language, so you have to do
other
things.
Well, fuck you for not giving your infant verbal language skills at an earlier age. I don't understand. It kills me when I see these little 3-month-old babies running around. I'm like, why isn't it talking yet? I'm talking to it.
Yeah.
It should know by now. its brain's developed. It came out of your vagina. It's developed enough for the real world, I assume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
That's
I'm
why I
part of the
can't
real
have
world.
kids.
Yeah, you obviously didn't actually go to the sex ed class where they talked at all about child development, but child development's another thing we should learn about in school. Like, a lot.
Mm-hmm.
People should know.
Considering most of them are going to pop out a child.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
While
like,
in high school or shortly after.
Yeah. Almost all of them. Well, that would totally change the way that people saw that stuff. But obviously, the education system isn't built to like improve society and people's lives.
The education system is built to push people through so that they can maybe be productive when they're an adult.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, they will be. They'll be productive. Most of them will be in the middle class doing work and paying taxes.
Well, that's where they
and
want us.
a very elite few will make their way above that and to the, kind of more rich, more powerful, more influential class. And then a lot of them will stay poor. And then some people move up and down and stuff like that. But I don't know. You want to do our words?
Oh, yeah. We haven't even done that yet, have we? I just completely
We haven't really
spaced
done
it.
anything.
Is that like
Sorry, I just like doing that
weird
noise.
bird alarm? I don't know. We'll kick it off. What's your word? Is that going to be like our lead-in to the word segment?
Yep. Words and definitions.
Origins.
Poltergeist. I don't want to see that movie, by the way.
I'll be seeing it day one.
I know.
Vanessa loves horror. Actually, I love horror films too. So
Yeah, don't push it off on her. Like
I
you don't
know.
wanna see it.
There
Just 'cause I don't want
there
to.
are some horror films that I go to only because she wants to see them. I don't want to see like every one of them that comes out. But
like Insidious 7.
the only reason why I'm somewhat interested in that is because they got Sam Rockwell to be in it. So
I know.
Maybe
He's really good.
maybe it'll be decent, but we'll see. I wasn't a fan of the original. So
Sammy Rock. That's what I call him. Sam.
back when he comes over and hangs out, he's just
Samwise Rocksmith. Samwise Rockbelly. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, my word is sophomoric.
Sophomoric.
Mm-hmm. I heard somebody say it
not
the
quite
other
elementary, but not quite expertise either. Rather
Yes.
sophomoric.
Somewhat immature.
So sophomoric is like the second attempt. Usually, like in a band, their sophomore album's their second album.
Oh, I've never heard that.
No.
That's interesting. Well, sophomore is related to like a sophomore in school, which is that middle ground where you're above the kind of
The entry level.
the entry level, but you're not anywhere near the higher up level or the academic achievement or whatever yet. The sophomore in high school is like that's right after freshman, so you're still pretty low on the totem pole, and quite immature. So yeah, it has to do with having a characteristic of a sophomore, which is uber vague and doesn't mean shit. But the other definition is pretentious or juvenile. So essentially, it's just a negative adjective that you use for somebody who you want to make sound dumb. You're just being sophomoric. Essentially, they're just being immature or naive or something like that.
Could be a fucking baby.
Why don't you grow up and like
child.
learn? Why don't you get a life, fucker?
Yeah,
That's
no,
not-
seriously, go down to the mall and go to the store and
Yeah.
buy a fucking life. They have them on display. They're on sale right now for like $19.99.
Yeah.
I
Seriously,
bought two
it's
of
a
them.
good deal. I have 2 lives. It could have been just chickens. I don't. I forget. It's life.
Did I mention that I didn't make it through school very well? Or sorry, very good?
Very well. Yeah. Sorry for using the correct term. I'm not very good at any wellness. Yeah. Fucking A. So like, what's your word? Shannon. Shannon.
I don't believe in like ing.
Shannon.
Ing. Who the fuck wants that
Yeah.
noise?
I'll just call you Chan Chan. Chan Chan.
Chan. Double E. I was gonna say
Channy?
Chan squared, but that's too intelligent. So.
No, yeah. You can't use math terms.
My word is an adjective. It is Fabjous.
Frabjous.
Not Frogjous.
Frogjous?
Fabjous.
Frabjous. Isn't that
Not
from...
Frappuccino. Fabjous.
Doesn't he say that word in Johnny Depp in the new Alice in Wonderland movie? I swear that sounds like from that.
He might
used
have.
a lot of weird words in that.
I only watched that movie once, and then was like, "Why did I watch that movie?"
Yeah. Fabjous.
Fabjous.
Not jizz. I keep saying jizz all the time.
I know, it's just Jus. J-U-S, not J-I-Z-Z.
Jizz. Isn't that a rapper?
Yes.
Jizz,
Maybe, I don't know.
Jizz-Z? No, that's
Jizzy?
Jay-Z. Anyway, what the fuck is your silly word mean?
Fabjous means wonderful, elegant, or superb.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's not at all what I would have assumed. That sounds like a really cursory way to say that. Like Fabjous. Fabjous. Oh, this is actually, if you say it with an English accent, it doesn't. Oh.
This wine is quite Fabjous.
This, the party...
It's a lot better than the sophomoric one you just gave me a second ago. Tasted drab and awful. But it actually was coined by Lewis Carroll.
Oh, that writer.
in Through the Looking Glass in 1871, with elements suggestive of fabulous and joyous.
Through the Looking Glass is what Alice in Wonderland is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
The real name of the book.
Sorry, I just scrolled down to the origin.
Called Through the Looking Glass. I think.
There we go.
Am I right? Look it up real quick.
Lewis Carroll wrote.
Yeah, Lewis Carroll wrote the Alice in Wonderland stuff, but that's the real name. I think is Through the Looking Glass. But double check that because if I'm right, that would make sense that it comes from that he says it because he says a lot of weird like made up sounding words, but I think he says Fabjous in the scene where he's at the tea party.
Through the Looking Glass is a novel by Lewis Carroll, the sequel to Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
Yeah. So that
makes
he
sense
totally does say that.
That movie was like a sequel to the original Alice in Wonderland because she was like a teenager in that film.
Yeah, she forgot what had happened as a child because essentially it's all a metaphor for mental disorders.
Really were like attentive when you watched that film.
I've seen it a couple times. I actually really like the Johnny Depp version. I thought it was well done. I don't know exactly why I liked it so much. I think it was because I like somewhat fantasy stories about young females and young males. I like those stories too. But I find it empowering when I watch young females grow into power, not like evil power, but like goodness, and they gain I don't know, they just gain confidence and stuff. Like in the movie, she starts off very timid and wanting to go home, and then she takes on the role of like a warrior and
the Vorpal blade and fucking slays that dragon or something.
She kind of leads the army or whatever. And I just like movies where the character progresses to a level of accomplishment and
it's like
goodness.
It's like the classic hero's journey.
Yeah, it is totally, and I like it in a young character because because of myself. It's all just a metaphor for how I wish I was a hero and stuff, and how when I was younger I always thought of like those hero stories and goodness and fighting evil and stuff, and so I enjoy this, like the Catching Fire. The Mockingjay stuff. Like I like that. Like I like strong female, like younger characters that ascend to leadership.
So you wouldn't be
roles.
interested in like a 50-year-old woman who suddenly
No, see, I think it wouldn't make as much sense.
Yeah, like you've been around for so fucking long. You should have figured this out a while ago.
Yeah, right. What the fuck? You're so old. Old ladies can't accomplish that. They're infertile. So what's their use? Sorry, old ladies. I wonder what the age demographic of our listeners are. I'm guessing it's around 20. 20 to 30 younger. Or something. I don't know. Maybe there's like a little.
How old? Your older brother listens, so he's gonna widen that gap a little bit.
Yeah, he's always widening gaps. Sorry. Speaking of my brother, he just had his 52nd episode the other day, and it was really good.
I thought you were gonna say 52nd birthday.
No.
I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he grows 2 years per year.
Impressive.
He's got opposite Benjamin Button disease. Not opposite, but just different, and not like it at all. But where he just gets older quicker.
The curious case of Josh Gray. That's how it is.
The curious case of Josh Gray, spouting off of Josh Gray.
Older brother of Joseph Gray, leader of the cult Gray.
The Clan McGray. I'm from the Clan McGray. I was thinking I was going to do the Scottish accent the whole time we did this podcast. I couldn't possibly pull that off. I would just be doing a character that has nothing to say. So I was thinking of what would my name be, like if I was playing a character, and I was thinking it would be Brian McDougalham. Brian McDougalham was the name I came up with. I don't know. It had to be have that Mick in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to.
Brian. My name's Brian.
What were you saying about your brother's 52nd episode, or were you just stating?
No, I don't know. I got excited that he did a full year, and that was his goal, to do one podcast every week for a full year and not skip
Is he just
one.
going to fall off the bandwagon now? He's just going to be like,
yeah, that's my
hit it.
That's kind of like this, like kind of bittersweet thing. Is he's not going to make sure to post one every week. He's still going to do it when he feels like it, when he has a good interview, when he wants to talk to somebody, when he goes out and stuff. But it won't be every week. So I'm not sure if I like that yet. I don't know. I'll see what happens. But I've been listening to it, and it was a big inspiration for me to do the podcast here. So, I don't know. It's cool. I just want people to go check out his podcast and go listen to some of them. He interviews on his last one the same person he interviewed in the first one, so he made a nice little connective loop there.
Little open and shut book.
He interviews this guy named shut forever, named Mark Mason, that is like a world traveler photographer, as well as a bunch of other stuff. Like this guy's like a Renaissance man kind of dude, and he's just really engaging to listen to. So it's a really good, he tells some really good stories about his travels to like Afghanistan and Vietnam and all those different places. So go check out McKinn's podcast. He's McKinn.
My can.
He's part
Don't
of
you
my
mess
brother.
with my can.
Got similar blood in his veins.
Is it the same?
It's similar.
I don't know.
I don't know, but there's DNA involved.
Whoa. Now you're mixing streams again. Don't be talking about no DNA with your goddamn evolution.
Goddamn edgelution. Don't educate me on no
You
edgelution.
can just ejaculate that shit right out your head.
Pontificating and what is it called when
Really
you eat?
sophisticated redneck.
Yeah. Hell no, we're not pontificating right here. What does it mean when you chew to masticate?
Masticate?
Yep, mastication.